You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not empty. You're just unaware of what you already have. Stay with me. This story will change how you see everything. There's a story I once heard about a man who booked a one-way ticket to America on a ship. He was so broke that before boarding, he packed himself bread and cheese, enough to last the entire voyage. Every single day, while other passengers dined in the ship's restaurant, he sat alone eating the same humble meal. When the ship finally docked, a hostess approached him. She had noticed he never once came to the dining area and asked him why. "I couldn't afford the meals," he said simply. She looked at him, stunned. "Sir, the meals were included in your ticket." Let that sink in. For the entire journey, this man ate bread and cheese, not because the food wasn't available, but because he didn't know it already belonged to him. That story reminds me of someone in the Bible. Not the prodigal son, we know his story well. I want to talk about the older brother. Luke 15:28-30 says, "The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, 'Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him.'" Here is a man who lived in his father's house. He worked the land, kept the rules, stayed faithful, and yet he felt poor, overlooked, and cheated. He was angry. He felt threatened by his brother's welcome. Why? Because just like the man on the ship, he had forgotten what his ticket included. Then the father steps in with one of the most powerful reminders in all of Scripture. Verse 31. "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours." Everything. The older son had access to it all along. He just didn't know. This is exactly what Hosea 4:6 warns us about. "My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge." Not lack of provision, not lack of God's willingness, lack of knowledge. We suffer not because God hasn't provided, but because our eyes haven't been opened to see what's already there. Think about it. Even the Lord's Prayer says, "Give us this day our daily bread." God is a Father who provides. The question is whether we know how to access what He's already made available. Consider Hagar, lost in the desert, her son dying of thirst. The water wasn't brought to her. God opened her eyes, and she saw a well that was already there. Consider Abraham on the mountain, knife raised over his son. He wasn't given a last-minute miracle from thin air. He lifted his eyes and saw a ram already caught in the thicket. In both cases, the provision existed before the prayer. Their eyes simply had to be opened to see it. The older brother's problem wasn't that his father was withholding from him. His problem was that he had forgotten his identity, whose son he was, and so he lived like a servant in his own inheritance. Many of us are doing the same thing. The challenge is not always scarcity, it is sight. What if what you've been praying for has already been provided? What if the answer is closer than you think? What if, like that man on the ship, you've been surviving on less when you were meant to partake in more? We are heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ, yet we're sitting somewhere eating bread and cheese, anxious, striving, feeling left out, when everything the Father has is already ours. Our God is a loving Father who daily loads us with benefits. Psalm 68:19. It would be a tragedy to miss those benefits, not because He withheld, but because we never realized what was ours. So this is my prayer for everyone reading this today, straight from Ephesians 1:18. that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people. You are not a stranger on this ship. You are not a servant in your father's house. Your ticket was paid in full. The table was always set for you. Open your eyes and come eat. Stay blessed, Jules.
This is the time of your life.